Emoni Bates will not be the player that you expect him to be. This once projected number one pick went 49th in this year's NBA draft. Hi, my name is Rotimi. I love basketball. I love to talk basketball, and I hope one day you can share that same love for basketball as I. Michigan-born Emoni Bates was considered to be the next LeBron. So good that he was offered a collegiate scholarship at the age of 13. Many saw him as the next KD prototype, a 6'9" unstoppable scorer with a wiry frame who was ready to play in the NBA at the age of 16.
Cleveland, stand up for real.
Who they get?
Got that Emoni Bates.
Ooh, they got Emoni?
Before Victor Wembanyama, Emoni Bates was the talk of the basketball community from the moment he touched high school. In his high school career, he was ranked number one among all high school players on ESPN. I'm talking freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors. As a freshman, Bates would average 28.5 points and 10 rebounds, which was more than impressive considering that he was a first year in high school and would only have more to prove in the following years. He would average 32 points and 9 rebounds in his sophomore year, which meant, as a fan, we were waiting for him to get to the NBA. We wanted to see what else he was going to do as a senior and a junior, but what was he going to do when he enters the NBA? He was also the youngest player ever to win the Gatorade Player of the Year award. And not only did he do it once, but he did it twice, and it was back to back. However, his next year he would join a failed prep school ran by his father to focus on more basketball. Many scouts didn't trust this unproven program, and although he was still balling out, it did dent his draft stock. Along with this bad decision came another. He chose to skip his junior year, going straight to the senior year, reclassifying as a high school student. This meant he was open to more offers and more collegiate offers. Although he had a collegiate offer from Tom Izzo from Michigan State, he wanted to open up the invitations and see what else he could get. But as I mentioned, this prep school wasn't good enough. This prep school wasn't a great move, and he would lose attraction from many scouts and not receive many offers. Luckily, in 2021, he joined Penny Hardaway at Memphis State, where we all thought his collegiate career was about to take off. I would have thought playing under an NBA legend such as Penny Hardaway, he was going to develop into something special. If you don't know who Penny Hardaway is, please spend 5 minutes watching Penny Hardaway's assist videos. He was literally magic, but 6'7". I thought he would learn the art of playmaking to complement his game under Penny Hardaway. I was very wrong. Not only would he not playmake, but Emoni would average 9 points. This is the same unstoppable scorer who averaged 9 points. Now, okay, I think it's fair enough to say it was a very weird season. COVID was a weird time. Everyone was trying to adjust. So naturally, you don't think that he's going to come back and anyone's going to come back at their top form. But Emoni wasn't just anyone. Emoni was a natural scorer who had the instinct for the game. So it shocked everyone when we all saw those stats. Emoni decided to make a change. He would move back to his hometown of Michigan and join Eastern Michigan University. But before the season, he would get arrested at a traffic stop, charged with gun possession, and he would also be charged for altering the ID on a gun. Now this tanked his stock. Many scouts were worried about what was he doing off court. The only way he gets drafted at this point is if he balls out of his mind. And so he did. He decided to remind us who he was. Averaging 10 more points than his previous season, averaging 19 points and 5 rebounds on 40% shooting, Emoni Bates had shown us that he was still Emoni Bates. NBA scouts gave him praise about his on-court actions, mentioning his 6'9" ability to be a scoring wing. The downsides, though, came from his negative wingspan, his ability to play defense, and most common, he's just a shot chucker with poor shot choice. Some scouts projected that he would go in the first round, around the late 20s pick. Other scouts put him in the second round, saying he was going to get drafted second from last at 59. Either way, they were wrong. He would get drafted 49th to the Cleveland Cavaliers, where we now got to see him play in the NBA Summer League. When we look at Emoni Bates' game, he has a natural knack for scoring. His instinct is untrainable, and his confidence you can't teach. He will shoot it when he wants off the dribble or with his feet set on the three-point line. He will break you down with his handle, penetrate the defense, and embarrass you just to get to the rim. I'm sure you all agree that he looks like a clear player that had all the tools in his offensive bag to score the ball. One thing we specifically saw in this summer league was his IQ and hustle. He was running the floor, on and off the ball, making cuts and getting open. We saw him making passes and smart defensive reads. These are skills that are valuable to any NBA team. The Cleveland Cavaliers were lucky to draft Emoni Bates. The Cleveland Cavaliers would win the Summer League, and Emoni Bates would play a key scoring role for the team. In the final game, he would have 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal and a block. His best game would be against the Grizzlies, where he scored 21 points on 63% shooting. Whilst performing in Summer League shows you can add value to a team, we all know that the NBA regular season is more competitive and fierce. Also, in many cases, your performance does not translate in the regular season because the situation you're in does not provide you with the same opportunities to score, ball handle, or play make. This is why I don't think Emoni Bates will be the player that he was once projected to be. The Cleveland Cavaliers showed that they were a playoff-worthy contender last year. With the addition of Donovan Mitchell, they were able to finish 4th in the East in the regular season. Although they were knocked out first round in the playoffs, they were still the best team last season on defense, finishing first with the fewest points allowed and with the best defensive rating in the league. The Cavs team showed last year they needed to find a way to make a jump to the championship contender. Offensively, they were terrible, and they were the second worst team in the league on offense. On first glance, I'm sure you're all saying Emoni Bates is going to be that guy to help them make that jump. And I would agree with you. However, I don't think it's the way that you're seeing it. First of all, I think we need to be realistic about the expectations we put on him. We have already seen when he spent his first year in college, the change in physicality level hindered his game. The NBA physicality is about to be another jump for him to adjust to. This means we have to take into consideration the fact that he's probably not going to start. At this moment in time, Caris LeVert and Isaac Okoro are better options to go to defensively for the team. When you play with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, your team is already limited on defense on the perimeter. Both Okoro and LeVert are likely to be better defenders than Bates, and they pick up the tougher assignments on those nights. So they're probably going to start over him. This automatically means there's a decrease in his playing time and the opportunity for him to get reps up in an NBA game. Then we have to look at him as a scoring option. Donovan and Garland are already ahead of him, both averaging over 20 points. Which means that he's going to have to be a contender for the 3rd spot. And he's going to be in competition with Evan Mobley, who averaged 16 points last year and is probably going to make a developmental jump this year. He's a 6'11" power forward who averages 9 rebounds. He's shown his ability to score and defend. It's likely that he will continue to be the 3rd option for the team. This means he would probably be the 4th option of scoring. Let's think about this. He was drafted in the 2nd round. This means he has a 2-year contract, and those 2 years under the Cavs are going to be extremely limiting to his main attribute, which is scoring. In the NBA, your first few years can determine the type of player you are, and teams will mold you to fit their system. If you don't, you are out of the league. Let's look at the case of Dennis Smith Jr. He was considered to be a highly skilled athletic scorer entering the league. But the year after he was drafted, Luka joins the team. He immediately becomes the 2nd option, and he needed to adjust to this team system. He couldn't. He gets traded and traded and traded. Then he can't find a job in the NBA. Then he finds himself fighting for another NBA contract. Now, if Dennis Smith Jr. comes back into the league, he's probably going to be capped as a bench scoring point guard for the rest of his career because of the situation he found himself in. After his 2nd year, he didn't adapt and the league wasn't going to adapt to him, so he was out of there. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's look at the case of Michael Porter Jr. MPJ was once considered to be the next Kevin Durant, a 6'10" scorer with all the tools in his belt. He was a scary player to watch in high school. He averaged 36 points and 13 rebounds. He was also considered to go number 1 in their draft. He had a few back injuries that tanked his draft stock, and he ended up getting drafted to a team with established scoring options. The Denver Nuggets had Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. MPJ, knowing that he was not going to be the number 1 or the 2 option, settled into the 3rd spot and took on the shooter role. The 2 healthy seasons he's played, he's averaged 17 points and 19 points. He's shot above 49% from the field and 42% from free. All this was achieved through running off screens, catching and shooting, making timely cuts to get open, and for a player we know to have the scariest shot creating ability, he made the adjustment. It must have been hard for him to make the adjustment, but he knew that the sacrifice was worth it. By taking up this role, he found himself playing an instrumental role in winning the 2023 NBA Championship. So what would this look like for Emoni Bates? I believe this means he has to get comfortable being an off-the-bench scorer to allow for his team to have a more defensive starting lineup. He could also increase his ability to play defense, but he's already limited. So maybe he takes up that Tyler Hero role, 6-man off the bench, scoring points. If he is a spark plug for the Cavaliers off the bench, then it's likely their offensive rating goes up and they have another option to go to. And let's think about this strategically. He should aim to have a stellar first season where maybe he gets Rookie of the Year. I still think that Victor Wembanyama is going to get Rookie of the Year, so that was a stretch. Anyways, Emoni Bates' talents will still help the Cavs in the first 2 years. So let's say he plays out of his mind. And then maybe in his 3rd year, he decides to become a free agent and sign somewhere else. He joins Wemby as a starter, becoming what we always wanted to see, the unstoppable scorer, Emoni Bates, and they win a championship. How does that look? Okay, now this may sound unrealistic, but it's just an option. It's just a scenario. He doesn't need to be on the Cavaliers for the rest of his career. We just need to see him do well in those first 2 years, and then he can have all the options open to himself. Emoni Bates has a lot of promise in this league, and I just want to see him make the right chess moves to have a prosperous career in this league. Please like and comment down below. I'm interested in your comments on what you have to say about Emoni Bates and what he's going to do next year. I would also appreciate it if you subscribe. It allows me to keep going and making more content, and as of lately, you guys have actually made me smile. I hope you have a great day, and until next time.